Ever walked by like a metal shop and felt that blast of heat?
Oh, yeah,
It's intense.
definitely.
That's what we're diving into today. Foundry operatives. These are the folks who work with molten metal.
Yeah, the people who make all the stuff we kind of take for granted every day.
Exactly. Cars, tools, even like those little metal decorations, it all starts in a foundry.
Absolutely. And it's not easy work, which is why we're going deep on this one with RoleCatcher.com.
They've got some awesome resources on this, career paths,
Yeah.
interview tips, the works. So first things first, this job is not for the faint of heart.
No. You've got intense heat, heavy machinery. It takes a certain kind of person to thrive in that environment.
So it's more than just pouring molten metal into a mold.
Oh, way more. It's about precision, timing, knowing how different metals will react.
So there's like a real skill to it.
Absolutely. You need a keen eye for detail. You have to be able to spot problems before they even happen.
Like what kind of problems are we talking about?
Well, let's say the temperature's off by even a little bit, or the humidity in the air is throwing things off. A skilled foundry operative can catch those things early and prevent a total meltdown, literally.
Because once that metal starts flowing, there's no hitting undo.
Exactly. It's high stakes, but that's part of what makes it so rewarding.
And I bet those split-second decisions are what separate a good foundry operative from a truly great one.
You got it. And, RoleCatcher.com actually emphasizes that. They talk about how important it is to be able to think on your feet, to problem solve in real time.
So it's a balance of physical toughness and mental agility.
100%. You're not just operating machinery, you're constantly analyzing, adjusting, and making sure everything runs smoothly.
It's like you need the steady hand of a surgeon, but in a much hotter environment.
That's a great way to put it. And speaking of hot environments, we should probably talk about safety.
Yeah, that's got to be top priority in a place like that, right?
Absolutely. And RoleCatcher.com really stresses that they've got a whole section on safety protocols because one wrong move in a foundry can have some serious consequences.
Right, we're talking molten metal here.
No.
Not exactly forgiving stuff.
Exactly. So safety is paramount, and that means following procedures to a T every single time.
It's like the stakes are always high,
Yeah.
but that's part of what makes this job so crucial.
And despite the risks, there's a real sense of pride that comes with being a foundry operative.
Yeah, like you're part of something bigger than yourself.
Exactly. You're taking this raw, powerful material and turning it into something that's going to be used to build things, to create things, to make the world go round.
There's almost like a historical, almost mythical element to it,
Yeah,
like the modern day blacksmiths.
I love that analogy. And it's true, there's a certain artistry to it.
Okay, so we've talked about the intensity, the skill, the safety aspects. What's it actually like to build a career in this field?
Well, according to RoleCatcher.com, it often starts with an apprenticeship. They call it a foundry trainee.
So you're learning the ropes from the ground up.
Exactly. You're assisting the more experienced operators, getting a feel for the pace, learning how to handle the equipment safely.
And once you've paid your dues as a trainee, what's next?
That's when you level up to foundry operator.
Okay, so you're moving from observing to doing.
Yeah, you're running the equipment, making those judgment calls we talked about, really starting to hone your craft.
Yeah.
You're trusted to handle the materials, the equipment, and make decisions that directly impact the final product.
So a lot of responsibility riding on your shoulders.
It is, and that's where the real learning takes place, when you're facing those real-world challenges, figuring out solutions on your own.
I bet that experience really prepares you for the next step up, right?
Absolutely. Once you've proven yourself as a reliable foundry operator, you might move into a senior foundry operator role.
Okay, so what does that look like? More responsibility.
Definitely. A senior foundry operator often takes the lead on the more complex projects, working with maybe different types of metals and molds. You might also be responsible for training the newer foundry operatives.
Passing on that knowledge.
Exactly.
So it becomes a leadership role.
Yeah, you're thinking about the bigger picture, like the whole workflow of the foundry.
And I'm guessing if you're really good at that, then you're on track to becoming a foundry supervisor.
You got it. The foundry supervisor is like the conductor of an orchestra. They're overseeing every aspect of the operation.
Wow, so from trainee to supervisor, that's quite the career path.
It is, and it's interesting because the more we talk about it, the more we see how important those leadership and technical skills are.
It's like a balance, right?
Exactly.
You need to be able to get your hands dirty, but also think strategically about the entire operation.
And RoleCatcher.com emphasizes that, they stress the importance of communication, teamwork, problem solving.
So being a people person is actually important in this line of work.
Absolutely. Think about it. You're working in really close quarters with your team, often under pressure, making those split-second decisions we talked about.
And those decisions affect everyone, right?
Exactly. So if you can't communicate effectively, if you can't build trust with your colleagues, it's going to be tough to succeed.
So it's not just about the molten metal, it's about the human element too.
100%. It's about collaborating, working together to create something valuable.
RoleCatcher.com really seems to get that. They don't just focus on the technical stuff, they highlight the human side of the job too.
They do, and that's one of the things I appreciate about their analysis. They paint this very well-rounded picture of this career path.
So it's challenging, definitely, but also rewarding. You can work your way up, gain new skills, be a part of something bigger.
Exactly.
We talk a lot about the positives, but what about the downsides? What should someone considering this be prepared for?
Well, as we mentioned, the work environment can be very demanding, physically and mentally. You're on your feet a lot, dealing with heavy machinery, and obviously the temperatures are really high.
Yeah, no kidding. You're not going to find any like nap pods or ping pong tables in a foundry, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Probably not. And then there's the shift work too, you know? Foundries often operate 24/7.
Oh, right. So you might be working some odd hours.
Yeah, evenings, weekends, maybe even holidays, depends on the foundry.
Definitely something to consider if you're someone who likes a really set schedule.
For sure. And we talked about the heat, the physical demands, the hours, but there's also the risk factor.
Right. It's got to be one of the more dangerous jobs out there.
It can be.
Mm.
And RoleCatcher.com doesn't shy away from that. They're very upfront about the fact that there are inherent risks.
Well, yeah. I mean, we keep saying it, but molten metal is unforgiving stuff.
It is. Burns are a risk, obviously. And then there's always the potential for injury from the machinery if you're not careful.
So you need to be on top of your game at all times, following those safety protocols like it's second nature.
Exactly. It's about having that constant awareness of your surroundings, being proactive, and looking out for yourself and the people around you.
It makes you realize that there's a whole lot of skill and dedication that goes into every single metal object we use every day, huh?
Absolutely. Whether it's a car part, a bridge, even just a simple doorknob, it all started out as molten metal, shaped by the hands of a foundry operative.
It's kind of amazing when you think about it.
It is. It's a hidden world, this whole industry, but so vital to our lives.
And speaking of hidden worlds, technology is changing everything these days. How is that impacting the future of foundry work?
Well, automation is definitely playing a bigger role. You see more and more advanced machinery.
Right, but does that mean robots are going to be taking over the foundry?
Not exactly. Even with automation, you still need skilled humans to operate and maintain that equipment.
So it's more about humans and technology working together.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance, using technology to enhance human capabilities, not replace them.
So the future of foundry work is kind of like this high-tech dance between humans and machines.
That's a great way to put it. And it shows that this profession is constantly evolving. It's not static.
Well, I gotta say, this deep dive has been eye-opening. I feel like I have a whole new appreciation for foundry work.
Me too. It's definitely a field that deserves more recognition.
Absolutely. So next time you see something made of metal, take a second and think about the people who made it happen, the foundry operatives, working in those intense conditions, shaping molten metal into the objects we use every day.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And if anyone out there is curious to learn more, RoleCatcher.com is a fantastic resource. Definitely check it out.
It's like a backstage pass to the world of foundry work. All right, folks, that's going to do it for this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious.